Welcome back to the Demon Slayer Gaming channel. We're going to be continuing our Final Fantasy XIV Dungeon Guide series today. We're going to be taking a look at Shisui of the Violet Tides. For the trash pools in the first area, you'll want to avoid running over the areas that have the anglerfish antennas sticking out of them, as they will pop out and do an AoE. The Hikigiri will have a large circular AoE that you'll need to move out of. You can stun him to interrupt this casting. The violet coral shells will have frontal cone AoEs that you'll need to move out of also. Once the first two groups are dead, you'll move to the water spout to get knocked up to the next platform. In this area of the fight, the anglerfish with red antennas will become actual enemies that you'll need to fight that have a frontal line AoE that you'll want to avoid. Once you defeat most of the enemies, an additional set of adds will spawn, which you'll just need to pick up. These adds do a physical vulnerability up debuff on you, so you will take increased damage during this time. Once these are dead, you will move on to the next water spout to knock yourself to the next platform. For the first boss, whenever he targets a party member, he will then lock them in place with leaden, causing them to be unable to move. He will then stand up and begin channeling Shuck, which will do a large amount of damage to the enemy if it is not out of the leaden effect at that time. You'll need to switch to his legs and DPS it down to cause him to fall. This will give him a vulnerability up debuff, causing him to take increased damage while he's on his back. So at this time, you'll want to pop most of your DPS cooldowns to deal as much damage as possible. Anytime the adds are summoned into the fight, you will want to switch to them and DPS them down as soon as possible. The adds will throw out AoEs onto random party members that will cause a blue circle to appear above their heads, followed by a water bubble that will leave a water AoE behind for an period of time. The second time he does the leaden effect, he will most likely summon the add at the same time. The higher priority is to destroy the leg to make sure that your party member is out of the leaden effect before switching to the add, and then back to the boss to do as much damage as possible during the vulnerability up effect. In the next area, there will be quite a few adds that all have single target damaging abilities for the tank. So the damage on the tank can get out of control, so you will want to make sure you're maintaining your tank cooldowns. A few of them also have large circular AoEs that you'll want to move out of. proceeding on past the second group, there will be multiple ads and an area that also will have AoEs dropping onto it. Until you proceed to the end of the area, these AoEs will continue to fall. So it is better to pull the ads to the end of the area where the captain of the guard is, so you do not have to deal with these AoEs. These ads will have short line AoEs that you'll just want to move left or right to move out of. The captain of the guard will have large frontal cone AoEs, which you can sidestep to avoid. For the second boss, the Ruby Princess, she does have an untelevised frontal cone, so you'll want to keep her facing away from the rest of your party members. When she starts casting Seduce, then you will want to move to one of the boxes to be turned into an old crone who can't be seduced. After she casts Seduce, she will begin casting a very large circular AoE that if you did not get the box so that when you're seduced you'll be walking towards her, you will most likely be hit by this AoE. When she costs several party members and begins casting Abyssal Volcano, she'll do a large circular AoE around herself, followed by several AoEs around the party member that she had selected. You'll want to continue moving if you had these AoEs to avoid them hitting you, and make sure that you're not running on top of the rest of your party members. You will only want to get the boxes when she casts Seduce, as at any other time it just makes so you can't attack. From here, the mechanics of the fight will repeat themselves, so you'll just want to make sure to get a box anytime she's casting Seduce, move out of her large circular AoEs whenever she casts this, and then whenever she casts the Volcano ability, make sure that you're moving out of the AoEs and continuing to run around the platform to avoid the AoE from catching up to you. For the ads moving into the third area, there will be several ads that are untargetable that will be moving around the platform. These pufferfish ads will explode in a large AoE whenever you get near to them, so you'll want to make sure that whenever they start to explode that you're moving out of these AoEs. They will continue to spawn throughout the entire fight, so you'll have to constantly be dodging these AoEs. The blue Unkyu has a large circular AoE around himself that you'll just want to move out of whenever he begins casting it. Instead of trying to avoid the pufferfish, I like to run on top of them as soon as they spawn so I can control where the AoEs are going to happen. It usually prevents the rest of my team from having to dodge the AoEs and have me having to move out of them after I activate them. The next group can be pulled into the side area where the treasure coffer is. If your entire team moves into this area, then the pufferfish will not have to be worried about, as they do not move into the area. That way you can kill the ads without having to worry about their AoEs. And this should bring you to the final boss, who's pretty much Ursula from The Little Mermaid. During her first phase, she will just have additional abilities that will be used on the tank, causing a decent amount of damage that she'll need to be healed through. When she casts Thick Fog, she will disappear and begin moving under the water. You'll want to destroy the churn. While each of them is alive, you'll be taking AoE damage. Once all the churns are dead, you'll just want to avoid the location where she comes out of the water. This will be wherever she stops under the water during her movement phase. Whenever she pops out of the water, she will summon 3 sharks. These sharks will begin casting Bite and Run on 3 different party members. The smaller sharks take much less time to perform this ability than the large ones, so you'll want to focus the smaller sharks down first. During this time, she will also cast a visual AoE that you'll want to look away from her, called Mad Stare. If any of the sharks finish their cast time, they will charge at the party member, deal a decent amount of damage, and cause a vulnerability up debuff on them, causing them to take more damage. When she casts Thick Fog again, she will summon more churns that she'll need to destroy to get rid of the AoEs being caused to the party. And then you'll just want to watch wherever she is moving. Move away from the location where she stops so that you can avoid the AoE. When she casts Mad Stare, you'll again just want to look away from the boss before the cast to avoid being feared. When the ads spawn, you'll just want to switch to them and kill them as soon as possible, focusing the small ones first and then the large one. And again, repeating the mechanics for the Thick Fog ability. And this should be it for Shisui of the Violet Tides. I hope this helps everyone out. If it does, please make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you on the next one.